Hey everyone, welcome back. Now that I've got this thing in one piece, it is now time to glass the deck. So I'm going to give it one last sanding and clean it up, and then I'll touch it up a little bit with some stain. Okay, I've got it sanded down and nice and smooth, and before it's ready for the glass, I'll go ahead and touch up the stain all the way around anywhere that it needs to be touched up. So I'm gonna get some tape wrapped up around the hull there, about an inch lower than the shear line, and that's gonna be where I cut the fiberglass when I wrap it from the deck around to the hull. Hey, if you like what you're seeing, or you're just a sucker for a dude with puppy dog eyes, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. The glass I'll be using to glass the deck is standard square cut fiberglass, which means it's cut at a 0 and 90-degree angle from the weave. But ideally for wrapping around sharp curves, bias cut cloth is better because it's cut at a 45-degree angle to the weave. To help my standard cut fiberglass bend around the shear line from the deck to the hull, I'm going to try to mimic bias cut as much as possible by angling it diagonally across the length of the deck. So I'll be moving from one corner across to the other. I'm trimming the fiberglass so that it will come down lower than the top edge of that tape, because I'm going to want to wet out this glass all the way down onto the hull just to the tape, but not below it, so that when it tacks up I can then trim it with a razor blade and peel off the tape with some of the fiberglass. Here I'm just putting a little tape to help hold down the fiberglass so the wind doesn't pick it up and move it. I don't think it was completely necessary. I could have just closed the garage door. Alright, I'm about to start glassing the deck, and the first important decision is, do I want to use Happy Birthday dinosaurs or just a generic Happy Birthday balloons? I think I'll go with dinosaurs. I've showed you the trick I use for mixing my epoxy. I do it with these plastic syringes. Here I'm adding 2 shots of resin and then 2 shots of hardener, and then I go back and get 2 more shots of resin. So it's a 2-to-1 mix, and I call that a double shot. I'm going to be wetting out the fiberglass with a roller. This way I don't put on too much in any one place, and I can work it in and press it down on there and get it evenly distributed from the start. So we're not going to dump it on and pull it around with a squeegee on this. I don't want any runs going down to the hull. And the trick is to wet it out to the tape and then onto the tape, but not below it. If you're wondering why I don't just dump and spread, it's because I want to put it on a little bit at a time, make sure there's no runs or anything like that. I'm just getting the glass pressed down, and then later we'll come in fill coat. I don't think taping down the fiberglass was completely necessary. As I wet it out, I just kept unpeeling it, so it was kind of pointless. So in previous builds I've always glassed the deck before connecting the deck and the hull, and so I've decided to try it this way in order to get a cleaner shear line seam. And I think it really works out because I'm able to sand it around nice and smooth and get as nice a smooth edge as one could ever possibly ask for. I've built a few of these boats now, and every time I do, coming into a step like this, it's always nerve-wracking, and I put it off and I overthink it, and it's just I don't want to mess it all up. But once you get into it and you're halfway through, you just kind of want to roll, and that goes away. And you just do the best you can. Eventually you just have to say, well, what's the worst that can happen? If I screw it all up, I screw it all up. Whatever. But I'm a big fan of this glassing after the deck and hull are connected technique. I think I'm going to do it like this from now on. I'm very pleased with the results. I think that seam looks really good. Of course, that's my opinion, but I think I can honestly say it's the best looking seam I've done so far. So for what it's worth. Tacked up now. It's not cured yet, but it's tacked up, so I'm going to use this, and I'm going to cut all along that seam and then peel off the tape, and then we'll get the fill coat going. I'm not sure if I did this step too soon or too late. I would prefer that I didn't pull up that edge as much as I did, but I just have to add more epoxy in the fill coat and try to blend that as much as I can. Time for the fill coat. And it ends up working out fine, but it did kind of pull up the glass a little bit and raise that edge. I had to press it down a little bit. But it blended nicely with the fill coat after the fact, so it worked out. As much epoxy as I'm putting on to do the fill coat, it's amazing that it doesn't run and drip. Once you smooth it out and get it evenly distributed, even though it's pretty thick, it doesn't really want to run. So I can really gloop it on there, and as long as it's even, it doesn't seem to get anywhere. And once I've got the fill coat in, I let it go ahead and set, and then it'll be ready to trim the hatches in the cockpit, and then we'll be moving on to the next step. So that's going to wrap it up for this video, and I appreciate you being here and watching, and yeah, if you hit that subscribe button and leave a comment, that's always nice. So on the next one we will get into some more stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Later.